Welcome back to another episode of Palisade Radio. This is your host, Colin Cattell, and on the line with us today is Daniel Ameduri. He's the president of Future Money Trends. Daniel, welcome on the program.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Daniel, for those of our listeners that are unaware of your work or Future Money Trends, I think it's worth talking a little bit about your past. You had some pretty prolific calls going all the way back to 2008 that I'll let you touch on, and then you're very, very focused the last year on the gold sector. If you can give us a brief background on yourself, that would be much appreciated.
When it comes to the calls we've made, the significant calls like Lehman Brothers or AIG, Countrywide Mortgage, we were able to accurately forecast those. I tend to enjoy studying and researching the macro picture, the big picture. Going back to even when I was a young teenager, I could be dropped off in a Barnes and Nobles and stay there for 3 hours just reading the economic books or personal finance books or even the self-help stuff. I've just always been fascinated by that. Got very lucky that this is what I now do for full-time in helping other people achieve their own financial dreams. And we call it Future Money Trends, personal finance for the new economy, because we do believe that, and acknowledge that we are in unprecedented times. There is a massive restructuring. The U.S. is in a structural depression. And so we make forecasts based on that analysis and offer up ideas based on that analysis. So we do believe that most people are making a mistake with the 1980s portfolio model, that they're probably going to get very hurt in the next 3 or 4 years here, maybe in the next 12 months. And so we offer a lot of ideas outside of Wall Street. When we do buy stocks, we do buy bigger, safer stocks. And if we do recommend smaller microcap companies, we're very clear that they're speculative, and we're looking to leapfrog our net worth. And right now we are heavily involved in the resource sector, but in a few years we might be involved in the biotech sector, or we're also looking at marijuana deals in 2017. So our most recent call was that Trump would win. Very accurate. We were wrong on how gold would respond in the short term, but we do believe long term this will be very good for resource stocks across the board.
As you just mentioned, you were forecasting a Trump win weeks before Trump did get the president-elect. But gold stocks certainly reacted differently than you thought and most people thought if Trump were to win. In fact, we had that strange price action where gold shoots up and then it collapsed the very next morning, all surrounding the Trump victory. What do you make of gold action following Trump, and what do you think is going to happen? What are you forecasting over the next few months?
It goes to the old Wall Street saying, buy the rumor and sell the news. And, gold, that was an amazing move overnight. And I remember I bought SLV calls in the morning of the election on November 7th. And I think I went to bed at about 3 a.m. Central Time, thinking I was going to wake up to some pretty large profits. And my goodness, by the time the open, I was just barely made a few $1,000s on those SLV calls. But I think the metals, there is definitely optimism that has entered the market, and it's even touched the gold bugs. I talked to a lot of gold bugs because Trump isn't a normal Republican. This is essentially a third-party candidate that ran within one of the major parties. And so there is some optimism, and certainly with this recent news, this deal with Carrier, that President-elect Trump has been able to keep 1,000 jobs, which is minuscule in the big picture, but it's a huge victory when you consider no politician on earth would have done anything for these people. And here this guy is doing something for these manufacturing workers, and he's making good on at least one of his promises during the campaign. So there's the optimism is spread, which has been good for copper. It's been great for zinc. It's been great for lithium, and so it's not all bad news when you look at the resource sector. And look, at the same point in time, maybe we're complaining about how much icing is on our cake. The GDXJ was at about 19 earlier this year. It's still at 30, 33, 34 right now. Gold was at 1,048. Gold is just under 1,200. Silver, same thing. We've seen a significant move. We're still looking at very sizable gains, especially in the junior resource stocks. Some of the stocks I profiled earlier this year were trading less than 50 cents. today, even despite this huge correction we've seen since October 3rd. They're still trading for $2-3. So it's been a gut-wrenching and an extremely volatile time in the sector since Trump's win, and even before that, because really the first smashdown in gold and silver was October 3rd, and the correction actually started in the mining shares in the middle of August. So, look, we had a parabolic move, and now we're having a correction. This is actually normal in the mining sector, which is why it's important to always lock in some profits and take some off the table when you have those big moves up. But at the same point in time, I think structurally the bull market is intact. Now, I'm not going to, sugarcoat it. If we continue to see another smashdown or certainly make new lows, then I would expect, a short bear market for perhaps the next 12 months. But that's not what I'm forecasting. I think after the Fed rate hike, we will probably see a resumption of the bull market in gold and silver. It might be choppy until Inauguration Day, but I do believe Trump's policies are very, very supportive of a higher gold and silver price.
Daniel, for those with cash, depressed prices can spell opportunity, a time to buy or re-enter into the market. Is there any opportunities you're focused on that you care to share with our audience?
Anybody who's subscribed to FutureMoneyTrends.com, I am actively buying our core portfolio stock suggestions, and people can get those at FutureMoneyTrends.com or through our email alerts. The only stock that I'm buying actively that is outside of the Future Money Trends stock suggestions, but it is recommended by a wealth research group, which I'm a partial owner, is Inca One Resources. I really like Bruce and Ed, the gentlemen who run the company. Bruce specifically has a history of success in the mining sector. Ed is one of the most competent CEOs I've ever met. And it's the perfect mix between financing, marketing, and building a mining company. And this is actually a gold ore processing company. So if people were to look at Inca One, which trades on the TSX Venture under IO or the US under INCAF, think of it as like buying an oil pipeline company. Really, it's they're the processors. So they're not mining gold. They're not exploring for gold. Inca One simply is processing, and usually the relationships they have with these mining companies, they have about a 50-50 revenue split. So, basically you kind of remove all those inherent risks with mining, and they're the cash flow business for gold, and they've seen a significant pullback along with the rest of the market over the last few weeks here. And so I have myself and my partners are beginning to take steps to start to accumulate more shares. And we'll probably accumulate more shares over the next 2 months here, especially in December. But I think that is one of the best opportunities available to investors right now. I think it's probably going to be one of the biggest winners of 2017. I mean, it's only got about a $14 or $15 million market cap in Canadian. Even a slight move up in gold, I think there's going to be a lot of attention on this stock. There are other companies that trade for 5, 6, 7 times what this company trades for that I believe will be comparable, within the next 12 to 24 months. So that is one of the stocks I would highlight to your audience, along with going to Future Money Trends and following our emails.
You hit on many of the key facets of the business, what you look for in a strong resource company. There are thousands of resource companies that could call themselves juniors in the world. And I think even in a bull market, when the saying is everything goes up, it's still very important to find the best of the best. Daniel, what do you focus on at Future Money Trends when you're qualifying what goes into your portfolio or what you're buying?
We only focus on people. We have seen, you take a company like Ivanhoe, which is a great company. It's got some of the best assets in the world. But, I saw many newsletters crash and burn on that one, profiling it at 450, 4 or 5 years ago. And I've seen this time and time again. And you really want to find people. And by the way, speaking of people, the guy who runs that, Robert Friedland, is one of the best, or maybe the best. So you look at people, and we focus on the people who have already had a proven success, the people who know other good people, because one of the things with these junior mining companies is, they're always looking for new shareholders. And you find the guys seem to run in the same circles when you see them being profiled by the right analysts, being picked up by the right type of fund managers. It's a very small circle because, like you said, there's a lot of these companies. And there's just a handful, I would say less than 50 that are worth anything, and the people focused on building real businesses is a rarity in the junior resource space. So, we tend to recommend to our subscribers find 3 to 5 management teams. And instead of trying to own 20 stocks, own 3, 5, maybe 6, 7 stocks, but focus on the people. We've for years we've made money with Amir Adnani. We've made money with Keith Neumeyer. We've made money with Max Porterfield and Dennis Higgs. We're focused on some key people that we trust, that we know are trying to over deliver for shareholders, and maybe most important for these people after what they've already done is, do they have a lot of skin in the game? Are they buying shares on the open market, not just at the company financings, but are they on the open market accumulating their own company? And those are the type of people we want to attach our own money to.
Let's end on the long-term view here, Daniel. Setting aside the potential for a continued pullback, do you care to make a prediction or forecast on gold and the mining stocks over the full 4 or potentially 8-year Trump term?
I think looking at the mine supply deficit of silver and the fact that it is a factual statement, if you look at the last 10, 15 years, we have absolutely peaked in discoveries. Spending for exploration, prior to the bear market, really taking foot in 2013, which it started a year or two earlier. But exploration spending, it's higher than ever in the big picture, and discoveries is just lower than ever. Discoveries just absolutely collapsed. So peak gold, which has even been acknowledged by Goldman Sachs, and peak silver. If you look at we're producing less silver, we're making less discoveries. And when it comes to silver specifically, it's very, very rare to have a silver mine. Even the companies that call themselves silver companies, and I'm not picking on this company because it's another great company, but Pan American Silver, less than 50% of their revenues come from silver. And I could go on and on and on about all these companies that have the name silver in them, but really they could justifiably call themselves base metal companies. I mean, you look at Hecla, it's down to like 40% of revenues. There are very few silver mines and even fewer pure silver producers. So by the way, I know one of them you work with, First Majestic. That is the purest silver producer, and I think they're about 70% right now of revenues, and they're going to be at 80%. So big picture, I think we will see a much higher gold and silver price, and I don't even need the inflation or the macro picture or the Fed or what the government does to make the case that these metals are going to go higher. These metals are going to go higher on pure supply and demand fundamentals. And if you look at a cyclical bull and bear market, we are in a bull market, and the bear market was brutal, which means the bull market will be just as spectacular going the other way. So I expect in the next year to 3-4 years, absolute fortunes are going to be made in the precious metal sector. Not in the physical metal, though. Hate to say it, guys. If silver goes to 50 or maybe even 100, it's not going to be life-changing for those physical holders. Silver goes to 50, some of these mining shares are going to go up 20, 30 times, maybe 40 times, 50 times. If silver goes to 100, I mean, it's going to be truly a generational type of wealth situation for investors in these stocks.
Yeah, I agree. There's no bigger adrenaline rush than being in these mining stocks during an upward trend, and they can last quite a long time. Daniel, I'm a big fan of your work. as we end here, if you mind sharing how listeners can get a hold of your free list and your premium list, that would be appreciated.
Our premium list is currently on hold. We're doing some major changes. We'll have a big announcement in the next 30 days. Our free list, you can go to futuremoneytrends.com, subscribe free. You'll get our weekly wealth digest as well as ideas both in the publicly traded companies as well as income producing ideas outside of publicly traded companies.
Excellent. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on Palisade Radio.
Thank you very much, Colin.
Think you understand the junior mining sector and you think that the participants in the mining sector, junior mining sector, are good people and kind people, hit the bid.
And the world is always going to need raw materials. It's going to need copper and gold and nickel and so forth.
Totally destabilized. Hey, Troll, did you hear what's going on in Yemen? Or are you too stupid?